Hey folks, what's up? So look, it's Wednesday. First off, happy new comic book day for whatever you bought. Enjoy it. We've got some reviews, we've got some news, we've got a conversation about a huge thing that it could possibly take over the world before
Huge.
Skynet has a chance. And all of the types of happenings such going on. So there's a lot going on, so we're gonna jump right into it. Robert, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Then folks, let's have some fun and let's go. Hey, folks, welcome once again to another episode of TBA News. This is your comics culture news update show. I am Antonio Pomares, aka the Hungry Bleak, the hungriest man in the room. You can take that however you want.
And I'm Robert, apparently delayed, and the writingest man on these YouTube streets. But yeah,
There it is.
happy to be here. Happy to be here.
Oh man, there's a lot going on, Robert. How are you doing? First off, before we start getting into it, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Busy, but I'm doing good. Happy to just be able to chill and talk comics and all the good stuff. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. It's a crazy time of year. Obviously, holiday time is a wacky time of year. A lot going on.
Yeah.
You got all types of holidays and families and such and friends and loved ones, all stuff got going on. But we still want to come to you and let you know what's going on in the culture. So let's start up with video games. Everybody loves video games, Robert.
Yeah. All the the fun stuff, all the fun video games. So last week we had I think it was last week. Time is becoming very nebulous right now, but I had a chance to play Marvel. Picked it up open day, or I guess release day, and downloaded it. We've been talking about it a lot on the podcast, or at least, or I've been obsessively getting ready for this. But basically, it's a beat 'em up in the vein of games like Streets of Rage, TMNT, TMNT Shredder's Revenge for something more recent. And basic storyline is you have a bunch of Marvel heroes that are fighting against Annihilus. Annihilus, yeah. And his cosmic baddies, including a bunch of Earth-based bad guys. But that's the basic gist of it. This game has, I beat the game. I've run it with friends. And as you can see, this is from a stream that I did where we're just literally just whooping butt in space. But what I love most,
I thought this was a demo. Oh, I didn't realize this was actually all playing. I thought this was a demo. They're all whooping ass. Oh, damn.
Yeah,
all
shout out to James and Mac and Tanya. So I'm trying to figure out exactly which group of this was that I ran this with. But the storyline, very basic, and it's fun, just comic book poppy fun. The roster is where this game shines. You have 15 playable characters. I think you start off with maybe 10 or 11, and throughout the campaign you pick up four additional ones if I'm doing the math right. And as you can see, the combos in this are insane. One of the things that I do like is that if let's say you want to run this solo, you have you can choose two players and you can switch between each of the players, each of the characters. So, but if you run this with as we're showing three people here, you have at least like 6 characters that might pop up at any time. And you have assists that you can do, super powered assist, basic assist. And this is just like a basic, button mashing fun time, and it reaches deep into the Marvel lore. So if you're a Marvel fan, but even if you're not, there's a lot of fun times that can be had running this. My big two right now, strangely enough, are Black Panther and She-Hulk. Black Panther is more agile. He's more acrobatic, martial arts, and She-Hulk is a wrestler through and through. She has a move where she can grab you by the neck just like that and just slam you into the ground and then just rub your face into the ground and then throw you away. That is probably me, just running around trying to grab people by the neck. And she can also, but she plays like kind of like as a Hulk, but as a wrestler. So, all in all, I'm a huge I'm loving this game. I'm a huge beat 'em up fan, and I think that this, if I had a list of like the games of the year, because I haven't played a lot of the new ones, but this would be at the top of my list. Like, it's been so fun to run this with other folks. If you can get 4 players in there, it's cool. But 3, 2 or 3 is definitely fun. But it's just, like I said, a lot of pulpy beat 'em up action, and I'm really enjoying it. So I don't know, 10 out of 10 for me. I've seen some people like 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. I might be biased because I'm a comic book fan, but 10 out of 10. And this is making me want to go back and pick up the more cosmic oriented Marvel books, because it's such a huge part of the story and the settings. And you even get you get a level in Wakanda, which is pretty amazing and fun. So, but yeah, shout out to the developers. Y'all have, I think, Dotemu and Tribute Games. Y'all have given us another beat 'em up classic.
This look, like I said, I thought this was a demo because y'all was just laying hands on everybody that wasn't y'all. Basically,
yes.
Y'all was laying hands on anybody that was not y'all. I was like, damn, okay, this gets game crazy. I love the look of it. I love something. I'm at a point in my life where I just sense of everything that's been going on in the world and in life, what have you. Yes, I want something that makes me think. Like I'm playing like Destiny is one of my main games. Obviously, Destiny takes me out of it, what have you. But there are times when I'm like, I don't want all this thinking. I don't, you know what I mean? I want to just have fun and just go crazy. So I'll go into like one of my favorite, something that I've been playing through right now is Streets of Rage. This is perfectly right up the alley because I love that feel of just beat 'em up. That I want that arcade. I got next popping in your quarter type of feel to a game. I miss that. I honestly miss that. And seeing how love the colors, the artists. I love the fact that you have the roster there. I love that old school feel of as you play, you pick up characters. It's not like you have to get DLC or you gotta do whatever. I mean, that might come down the line. I don't know, what have you. It's not it's above my pay grade. But I just love the feel of this. We don't have to go do this, that, what have you. Just having fun. This is like a party game.
Exactly.
Which is what I love the feel of it. So I would definitely say this looks like a 10 out of 10 easily. Yeah. I mean, this looks like a 10 out of 10. So much fun. And like I said, I'm just laying hands. Damn, Cap is out.
Cap is out. Cap is out.
Cap is out. Cap is done.
Yeah, we were trying to avenge his death.
I mean, damn, that's what. But I also love that. I'm guessing that you are able to have like different costumes too for the characters.
Yeah, so that's like you see, Wolverine is rocking the X-Force.
Yeah, the X-Force. Yeah, that's what caught my eye. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
damn.
And they have
T'Challa's down also.
Yeah, apparently so. So T'Challa's down. So I think in this one,
that snap is real.
Yeah, exactly.
That snap is real, y'all. I mean,
and then
bone and dust. That's all you're gonna get. Bone and dust. My man said it. Damn.
Well, we wound up taking them down, but yeah. The color, you have different outfits, color schemes, and hopefully that'll be something that they can add, because each of these characters with the roster that you have, they've had various costumes over the years. Yeah. So I think that would be a nice little addition to include. But from jump, you do have a variety of different types of color styles or different styles of costumes to wear.
Oh, cool. That's all day. And like I said, I love that because I love that having a cosmic character in there, because you don't really see much of I'm trying to remember her name. Because I think she became the new Quasar.
Yeah, it's Faye. I'd have to figure it out, but
Faye Vel? No, Faye
Vel. I think it's Vel.
Yeah. Like she was such a cool character because I read some of her stuff because I was like, oh, who's this? And I find out she's supposed to be yeah.
I love Val. Yeah.
So I actually love that. And yeah, that's awesome. I should be looking for that, honestly. Especially it's going to be getting colder. Definitely not going to be one to go out. Leave me alone. And just trying to have like this like fun kind of but it's not cross-play, correct?
Oh, it is. Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, that one we were running
okay.
I've run with people on PlayStation 5, I guess, play PS5 and PC. So it just
cool.
yeah. So and the connection it's really, the crossplay works seamlessly. The only issue that I would say is that with it being the first week, some of us, we kept getting dropped at times, but it worked. It was but we had a fun time. It's a good game.
Yeah. That's a natural thing, unfortunately, is like that first week is to be dropped of anything like that. But hopefully you won't get dropped when you go to sign up for Virtuous Con, which is making its return this year. Man, the segues just going to be popping this episode, sir. Yeah, we definitely so Virtuous Con has announced excuse me, that it will be taking place February 21st and 22nd. This is the premier like a virtual event started during the pandemic and by founder Cerise Rennie Murphy, also an award-winning author. This is a great event. This is the closest thing, for being virtual, it's the closest thing to actually being at a convention center. Yeah. The way it's set up, the interactive, just everything is interactive, whether you're going to someone's booth and actually speaking to the creators, panels. There was a point where they had an escalator. You actually went down to the other floors. It wasn't necessary. It's virtual, but I appreciated that detail. And for some reason, that's always one of my favorite things is I'm like, there was no need to have an escalator, but yet that detail was there. And it was such a nuanced little thing. So I truly appreciated it. So they have early bird tickets are available now, but also vendor applications and panel submissions are open as well. And this year, what would I say, the gimmick this year? No, gimmick's not the right
theme.
word. Theme. Thank you. Yes, because I'm thinking of wrestling, honestly, because it's Wednesday, and you know what that means. Thank you to all my AEW fans. The theme for this year is the art of resistance.
I love it,
and we all know the state that we're in. I'm not going to go into it. Y'all know how I feel, what have you. But this beautiful piece of art right here, I think, says it all with the fro. And you have words like community, protest, like vision, things that matter. So this is, like I say, one of the premier events out there. And the fact it's a Virtuous Con is so great because it's virtual. You can get on your tablet, your laptop, your desktop, what have you. You can stay at home. You can relax. You can have dinner. Cook. You can have your family around. If you want to have it up on your TV, obviously, smart TV, you can have it up there, I believe, as well. I love the fact that you're able to do that. Have the family there and just have a really good time and be able to speak with creatives. You also, you also have panels as well, which are really in depth. There's so many different topics that you can have from panels, guests, everything. It's just really love it. So I will be there checking out everything. I always love supporting it because it's such a great event. And I'm so glad that it's making a comeback this year. And it will be a phenomenal time. Absolutely.
Yeah. Looking forward to this. I need to look at the getting the table myself because it's been a minute since I've done Virtuous Con. So and it's easy. You can just sit at your home. It's from the comfort of.
That's the genius of it. Like, even though we still have like cons that are like in person, what have you. Say if you don't feel like going out because of whatever reason it is, because you might not be feeling well, you don't feel like traveling, you're tired, you just need a downtime. It's a great medium to be able to still do something great like this and to just be able to roll out of bed, brush your teeth, wash your face, wash your ass, even though it's not an in-person event, still wash your ass, lotion, and go in there and great. Whether you may not be feeling, or whether you have like social anxiety because of the pandemic. Some people it started anxiety when they started going out back into crowds, which I completely and totally understand. Virtuous Con, I believe, is a perfect blending of both, where you're able to have this big event and you have big name, incredible creators, but you're also able to stay at home, just chill, relax, and in your PJs, have a big plate of pancakes or a big bowl of cereal, and just have a great time with it. And it's awesome, So glad it's back. Like I said, February 21st and 22nd. Tickets are out now for early bird. And if you want to have a panel, or if you are a vendor and you want to submit, you're able to do it. It's open for you right now. Get up on it, please. Get in there, and I hope to see you there. It's a great idea to go. Speaking of go, I mean, Robert, going nowhere? What?
Yeah,
What is
going
that?
nowhere. So this is yet another Robert's pulling from the Kickstarter stash, and it's been a good year on that front.
Mm.
I a few, I think a few months back, I think there was the Kickstarter for this. It unfortunately wasn't the Keith Gaston and Milton Davis of MV Media. Shout out to both. They were like, we still putting this book out. So that's
Which I
like,
love.
yeah,
I love that mentality.
yeah, I love the flex. They were like, you know what, we still gonna put it out, and I'm glad that they did. I got a digital copy of it
Mhm.
a couple of months ago, and to say I've been impressed is beyond whatever words. But the story, Going Nowhere, focuses on a group of Buffalo soldiers, and they are they have a mission to take a prisoner to the town of Knowhere. And the really cool thing about this is it's not, that's the basic premise, that's the basic like setup for the story. But then it turns into like this weird West horror genre story, and I want to jump to certain pages so I don't give away
Yes.
kind of like the the big moments. But I wanted to highlight a couple of things. First of all, it's a period piece, and which I'm always going to love. But it's mixing actual history, of the Buffalo Soldiers, of freedmen communities, after the Civil War, in addition to giving us like showing Black people being prosperous and just doing the dang thing after the Civil War, and then you add to this mystery of who the prisoner is, and why the soldiers are even bringing him to Knowhere, because that becomes a mystery in and of itself. But like the other thing that I love about this, so that's where you have the story, and shout out to like Keith, because he writes this in such a way that it feels like I'm reading a book, and it's very the captions in this actually really stand out to me, because they're very descriptive, and it gives you insight into what these characters are thinking. And it's like I said, it's the dialogue pops, the story is flows really well, and you get moments like this when combined with awesome artwork, just works just all across the board. I think the other thing that I had a note specifically, like if you're looking for something like to compare this to as far as like other the elevator pitch is, I call this like it has a Sinners vibe, mixed with with historical context and actual characters, and you'll figure out with that, once again, without giving too much away, what that is in reference to. And the just seeing different sides of Black folks during this time, like you have the soldier in this scene, you have the doctor, you have the various townspeople, and a lawman that pops up later in the story. It shows that there are a variety of things that we were doing at this time, like various occupations, and that just like works. For me, I just love seeing us at the forefront of the story, albeit it is kind of darker. But that was one thing that also stood out to me. So like the other thing is I wanted to mention is like if you're a fan of something like 30 Days of Night, this is a perfect story that kind of fits within that wheelhouse. So all in all, like I said, I enjoyed the story. Wanted to show one more page, and you get also moments like this, where the the ish hits the fan, and it goes downhill from there, for our Buffalo Soldiers and the town of Knowhere. So definitely, I highly recommend picking this up. You can actually pick it up from MV Media, if you mvmedia.com, and you can get a digital copy. I'm not too sure about hard copies, but I really enjoyed this, and for this to be, as far as I know, I think this might be Keith's first comic book. It's he knocked it out of the park. So, and shout out to him and Ruli Akbar, the artist. His art is like, I'm trying to think, like, for the type of horror that we're getting in the story, it's perfect for that. He captures the horror scenes really well, but also capturing the various intricacies of this being a period piece. Like, you have the small western town, the buildings look authentic, the horse and carriages look on point, the uniforms, because like sometimes that attention to detail is not given to historical like period pieces. So shout out to him and the rest of the color art team. I think Tamawa Alu, and then Nikki Powers, and Piria Pillai on the cover, and then the cover letters, Uraeus and Milton Davis. So it's just a good book all around, and it's a good opening issue to something I think that's going to get even better. So
yeah, this looks like it has that feel of, it has that Western feel to it. The art, sometimes art doesn't always portray the period that it's in, if that makes any sense. It's not saying that the art isn't good, it feels like it should be somewhere else, or like as far as time wise. This one feels, it gives that like frontier rustic feel to it, which obviously you needed, which makes it a little bit grittier, a little more dirty, a little grimier, because back then things weren't spick and span clean, they weren't. And then to add in the horror aspect as well just adds in another layer to that. So yeah, phenomenal. And I love Western supernatural horror stuff. I think it's great if you do Westerns and vampires or werewolves, anything like that, man, just let me know, and I'm there. Like, I'm there for it. Now, when I drew a lot of us to Sinners, it wasn't just the story. Like, even if you had it without vampires, I think it still would have been a phenomenal movie. But adding that layer of vampires, like, oh, we don't get these stories. Right. Awesome. So to get this and have it be Buffalo Soldiers and have it be our soldiers dealing with vampires in this town, absolutely yes. Yeah. I just didn't realize it was out, so I got to go and get that. Yeah, because I need another book to read, because I don't have 11 of them already. But but that's a good problem. That's a good problem to have. I'm gonna be honest with you. So that's outstanding, and yeah, this looks beyond great. Excuse me. What else is Beyondtopia's comic, Bandits of Batavia. I've talked about this before. I was a Kickstarter that was out. I absolutely, the minute I saw the art, the cover, I said, "What the hell?" I said, "Wait, what?" And I was like, "I gotta go check this out." So Beyondtopia, it's a company that's I want to say they're based in Indonesia.
Okay.
Which I love. I love that I'm seeing more and more creatives from like Asia, not just Japan, but Philippines, obviously, Indonesia, Italy as well. Shout out to Mateo. Dude's on some alchemy type mess with his arts for real. Like, I don't know if he, like, if he does a transmutation circle like before every time he draws, I have no idea, but he's killing it every single time. And I'm mad. I'm like, what the hell is he? This dude is just, he got a transmutation circle. He's like, he's clapping his hands. He's putting his hands down on there.
It's
outstanding. Like, for real, I love it. He's like, got an auto-mail left toe or something. I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, they had this comic called Bandits of Batavia. Basically, these are the creatives. Oh, I love that mask. That's after one of the lead character from Bandits of Batavia, who is called Black Bull. Okay. Basically, what it is there's this town that's been overrun by these bandits, and they have supernatural powers. And to stop them, this young man who was a martial artist, they practice the martial art of Silat, which, if you've seen, I forgot his name, Aiko,
oh man,
The Raid. If you've seen The Raid, that's Silat. that hard hitting, fast. It's beautiful, beautiful, and also brutal at the same time. So he practiced this, but he's had everything taken away from him. His family, his loved one, and loved ones, and his village. Well, most of it was burned down at one time by these bandits. So to stop the bandits, he must become what he hates. So he actually becomes a bandit to stop them, and also has supernatural powers where it's hard for him to take a physical harm, and he's stronger, a bit faster, and everything. But what happened is they have two issues are out now. They were both from Kickstarter. What they've done is this is actually going to end up becoming a movie.
Wow.
And if you let me see if I can show you some of what the art for this looks like, because the cover is what blew me away. I was like, you gotta be kidding. What the hell is this? So this is the cover, and they had a bunch of homage covers too. They even had one that was after Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man.
Wow.
Where he's got the crouching and like all the webs and everything around, like that classic piece. So they give you like kind of a source material of a map of it, and then they go into it. And the first book is called Wildfire. I likened this to, it reminded me of, Warrior.
Yeah.
But just giving a supernatural tendency to it, which is phenomenal. So the people that are involved in this are Brian Valenza, Henry Barajas. Hope I'm pronouncing your names probably. If I'm not, I apologize, but I love your comics, so please forgive me. Art is the Arid Morty, lettered by Troy Pateri. I think I know that name. Cover is Arid Morty again. Map is Osada Siapa. Tyler Kirkman, I know that name. I've seen a bunch of your covers, obviously. The homage cover, I think, is the one that's after the Todd McFarlane, possibly. I think that's the one. That's Arid Anindito. And then there's a manga variant, which is from Philip Tan, with inks by Daniel Henriquez. They're just... So this is the beginning of it. It's set in like 1875, so a long, long time ago. And this is our lead character, Black Bull, and he's going after one of the bandits' hideouts. And you can see there's the crouching, and I mean, with the quickness, takes his head, but that's not it. They haven't explained it yet, but I'm looking forward to it. The head begins to speak and tells him where the bandit is at after it's been severed. And then it just gets crazy. You have this crazy fight. The action is fast-paced. I felt like because I've seen a lot of movies, and I love seeing Silat in movies because of how quick and hard-hitting and brutal, but so artistically done. I had just a balls watching these fights and seeing this character of Black Bull get into it. So to see that this is going to become a movie, it always makes me say, keep doing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Keep writing, keep drawing, keep editing, keep doing whatever, keep writing, and keep putting out that work, because you never know who's going to see what, when, where, or how. You may have made a pitch, you may not have made a pitch. Somebody may have just seen you at a con and said, that looks awesome, let me go talk to this person, see what's going on. And you never know. They may have ended up picking up your book, reading it, and taking it into an office somewhere and saying, I think this is really cool. Check this out. Let's get this person in here and speak to them. You never know what's going to happen. You never truly know, honestly. But to see some of this are some of the other books from Beyondtopia. They're just beautiful stuff, honestly. Jeez, Look at this. It's just incredible. You never know. And seeing this as a movie, because like I said, I've already been thinking of it because of, like I said, it has a feel of Warrior. But to see that it would be from like Indonesia, which is a culture I'm not very familiar with. So getting a little taste of it from this book was awesome. And I absolutely love that. I have to check, see if these books are available yet, or if they're still in development. But the art alone makes me just want to so this is our lead character right here. His name is actually Petang, but this is him in his Black Bull garb, which I absolutely love that mask. Let's see if I can get that and wear it to like New York Comic Con see if anybody knows what it is. But yeah, this is just awesome. Congratulations to them. Truthfully, it's a great thing, huge thing. And I just would be so excited to see where the hell that goes. So yeah, if you go to YouTube and Beyondtopia, you'll actually see like a trailer for the comic, and it was done so well and so awesome. I mean, congratulations to them, and I'm happy to see that a comic that I thought was really great is becoming a movie after 2 issues. So I hope the series doesn't get lost in the sauce. I hope they keep making the comic because it's beautifully done, and it is outstanding, which is awesome. But speaking of like big news and outstanding things, Netflix, Warner Brothers, Paramount,
and drums.
I have opinions on this, but I kind of sit back because I'm like, there are other things that I have to think about. But as far as geek culture in these spaces, Robert, what's going on here? What
was this? Like, time is, I said this again, like I said this before, time is weird because it seems like stuff is running into each other, whatever. But was it last week, I think, that there was an announcement that Netflix had purchased Warner Brothers. Like, they just went into the corner store and bought a Warner Brothers, right? For $82.7 million, right?
And got change back.
Right. So yeah, get that. There had been word going around for months that Warner Brothers was looking for a buyer, and there were a bunch of studios that had kind of tossed their hat into the mix. But it sounded like Netflix had won out. So it is what it is. That's a separate discussion because like we can do a whole episode about that. But then this week we found out like it was like some bad episode of Succession that Paramount. It was just like, nah, son, you ain't taking this. We got the conservative money. And now they put in another bid for even more money for Warner Brothers. So now things are kind of murky. Nobody knows exactly who's going to come out on when this all settles. But my question was, and I think a couple of other publications, shout out to Comics Beat, and Heidi McDonald of Comics Beat, and it looks like Forbes had actually spoken about it specifically when it came to DC Comics. But the question is with this purchase, whoever purchases Warner Brothers, what is DC Comics' future? So one of the things that, checking out these articles and, doing research into this is that nobody knows immediately. So right now, until the dust settles with this sale, because it still has to be approved by the government, and there's a whole baloo, that's a new word, that has to happen before this can, whoever buys it before this can go through. But so it's too early to tell, especially after this hostile bid by Paramount. But one of the things that for people familiar with like the corporate side of Warner Brothers and DC Comics specifically, DC Comics has lasted through previous acquisitions. The previous one before this was Discovery, and then before that it was AT&T. Now there unfortunately were structural changes and layoffs with each of those buyouts, with each of those companies buying the company. So unfortunately, if this happens next, with DC Comics, we don't know yet, but that's what the past has been. So like I said, structural changes, people unfortunately having to leave the company. But one of the reasons that people are thinking that DC Comics will be A-OK in the long run, at least as an entity, is because the IP that they offer is very dense. And this is one of the big reasons why each of these companies are looking at purchasing them. For Warner Brothers alone, I saw this insane list of intellectual property that they have: Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, The Matrix, DC Comics, Lord of the Rings, Mortal Kombat, and so forth. So there's a lot of IP, but specifically within the DC Comics library, there's so much to pull from for whatever adaptations that you're trying to do. The other thing is if you're looking at this from the perspective of Netflix, if they are the ones to purchase Warner Brothers and, by happenstance by DC Comics. The other thing that you have to look out for is that Netflix at one time, they were trying to do comic books of their own. They had a whole line with Mark Millar, which were supposed to be turned into series and possible streaming movies. That didn't work out so much, but then they have now licensed their properties out to other publishers like Dark Horse, specifically for Stranger Things. So at that point, Netflix will have a publishing company, a comic book publisher that they can, sell books from. They can continue to have that, be a thing, because they tried to get into it themselves. And the example that I have here is when Disney bought Marvel Studios, or I think bought the Marvel IP. The comic books continue to move along. So it's one of those things that I think that whoever winds up acquiring Warner Brothers will look at, and unfortunately look at this IP as just money-making machines. And now hopefully that won't push comics to the back burner, rather than the only focus being on TV, movies, and video games. But I think, personally speaking, that it will follow the route that it's gone before, when Warner Brothers was purchased by other companies. But then also, like I said, the example of when Disney bought Marvel, and there were all these questions about what was going to happen to Marvel Comics. So, in general, like I said, it's just kind of, brief summation. It's, like I said, it's up in the air, but those are a couple of routes or, points to kind of look at when it comes to specifically DC Comics. So I think that I don't know. I can't even say, like, I'm interested to see what happens, but I think at the end of the day, Warner Brothers wants to be bought, and that's going to happen no matter what. I think that that is something, unfortunately, that people are going to have to accept it, because the idea has always been that when Discovery bought, or David Zaslav bought Warner Brothers, he eventually was going to get profitable and then flip it. And, albeit that that's kind of I don't know if that's a good way to do business, but whoever buys this, it will be a large company. Unfortunately, some with more nefarious schemes than others. But at the end of the day, it's just rich people getting rich. But I'm hoping that DC Comics doesn't fall by the wayside in a lot of this, like, corporate restructuring that we're seeing, because this is the source of everything that we love, right? When it comes to these movies, these TV shows, video games, the comics come first. And that's what I'm hoping continues to be the case. But like I said, shout out to Comics Beat and Forbes magazine specifically, highlighting what this might mean for the DC Comics publishing company.
Yeah, I don't really have a lot to say about this because there are a couple of different factors. I'll go the polite route right now. I don't think DC is ever going to go anywhere. Mm-hmm. It's just too much of a money-making machine between IP and the actual comics, and they're running on all cylinders right now. They're putting out great stuff. And they've got some heavy hitters as far as on the creative team. If somebody comes in and does purchase them and says, "Nah, what we're going to completely get rid of that," they are the biggest idiot walking the earth. Mm-hmm. And that's saying something, because we have one in the Oval Office right now. So you wouldn't be very bright to do that. I think that's just bread and butter right there, man. That's just something I would, if I was him, I'd buy him and I go, "Y'all good? All right, bet." And I walk right out the room and I'll just let them keep doing it. I would bring some other people in, some other shades and genders, but I wouldn't, unless there was something completely fundamentally wrong, or if something to help them get bigger. Like, how about, we make this a part of our app or such, what have you? You know what I mean? Some type of integration, like stuff like that. That's above my pay grade, like that. I don't think there's gonna. Yeah, they're not going anywhere. If by some chance Netflix does do it, this is gonna. It's a lot of money. It's too much power. It's too much money. And for everybody saying Snyderverse, please shut up. I don't care. Stop. Shut up. You got the black and white long ass miniseries event. Just shut up and just see what happens. I'm tired. I'm I'm 47 on my back hurts. Oh, just shut up. Just please, just. But this is a huge thing. This is major. This is a lot, and it's not going to be over quickly. It's going to be a battle. So we'll see what happens with it. We'll keep following along with it. But it is a big thing. Speaking of big things, our last one is Godzilla. Yes, I read a Godzilla comic. I didn't see that going in 2025, but this one was really cool. This is Godzilla, and this is part of the Kai-Sei Era. Hope I'm pronouncing that properly. This one was really cool because the way it was, and this is from IDW. Before we start getting started, the creative team is written by Tim Seeley. Art is from Nicola Zizmezja. Hope I'm pronouncing that properly. Francisco Segala, Gloria Martinelli, Nathan Wittick, Jake Williams. So this basically starts with, Godzilla obviously is awakened, tramples Tokyo again, and all this stuff. And it kind of tells how Godzilla came to be. But there's a twist in the story that I don't know if we've ever heard of it, because I don't know a lot of Godzilla lore as far as comics. I know Godzilla's gone up against the Justice League. I think there might be a story now where he's going up against the Avengers. Okay. I think maybe the Ninja Turtles as well. Power Rangers, I know. Godzilla's got beef with everybody. Godzilla's like, look, Godzilla got hands for everybody. I don't care. Morphin time, my ass. Look, we gonna get it in like that. So I don't know a lot of the mythos, but this one almost feels like a bit of like this is actually pretty cool to me, because I've thought about this and it's always been interesting. So Godzilla comes into New York, destroys the entire it just goes on obviously one of the Godzilla rampages. But what happens is, in the middle of this, now these are this team called they're called G Force. Not excuse me, not G Force. What the hell am I talking about? That would be Gotcha Man. This is a team of commandos, and they're kind of telling the story. But what happened is, in the middle of this attack, this young guy ends up seeing these kids being like pushed aside and bullied by this other kid. So what does he do? Instead of run, he decides to beat the hell out of this kid. And he's like, you're not going to push people around while we're all trying to run for our lives. Meanwhile, he's not running for his life. That's very paradoxical to me, but what have you. So while this is happening, Godzilla bears down and lets loose one of Godzilla's blasts. But the kid absorbs the blast and the energy and ends up being able to take all the strength and power of a kaiju. And there's a panel where it even says like Godzilla almost looked like Godzilla was because Godzilla's never seen this from a human. And this young this young man was able to stop one of Godzilla's blasts and absorb all that power. I was like, wait, what? That interested the hell out of me, and I was like, I gotta check this out. The art is big and bold because you need that for a kaiju, but still has like this kind of intimate feel because you still have this group of commandos who each have their own specialty, and how they are able to work together and also initiate this kid into their group. Okay. And go from there. I think there's about 5 or 6 issues out. I need to read more of them because, again, I've never read a Godzilla comic. And I know that, depending on where you're at, different companies, like I said, Godzilla's fought everybody at this point. I think X-Men is next. And if Godzilla goes up to Canada, it's Alpha Flight. I mean, just go all over, just hit everybody. So to see this and to see that it's a young person who has the power of a kaiju and able to fight them. Normally you would see something maybe like an Ultraman where the character would begin to grow to the size of a kaiju. It hasn't grown, it's still the same size. And, being a part of this team and how they, there's one person who's, they have, like a pyrokinetic ability. One person is is an android, but can only speak like a 90s R&B song. I said, what? I said, miniseries? What? That had me, I was like, and when I'm reading it in my head, it's like a 90s song. And I was like, yeah, that's great. Then there's another character who is a telepath and is able to get into the head of Godzilla and the other commandos. But at the end, there's a very interesting thing where there's a kaiju at the end that's actually putting all this together and that's speaking, almost like a kaiju who's like masterminding this whole thing. Okay. That I was like, oh, that's terrifying. I'm not much into kaiju, although watching Godzilla Minus Zero was absolute masterpiece, and I watched it in subtitles in theaters, which was just gorgeous, truthfully. But this just intrigued the hell out of me between that and being a fan of Pacific Rim and the Jaegers and the kaiju, kaiju number 8, the anime. And there was a comic out a few years ago, I think it was called Kaiju Heist, where people actually were pulling off heists while kaijus were attacking cities.
Man, you making me add stuff to my list.
Dude, it was one of the most original ideas, and the kaiju actually had patterns, like how animals have patterns as far as like mating season, like when they awaken, like everything, hibernation, everything like that. The kaijus had that, so they planned this heist. I think it was in Florida, like Miami. And when the city was being evacuated, because at that time they would start evacuating the city, they went in and pulled off a heist.
Wow.
I was like, that's one of the best stories ever. So this got me into that. And again, the art just pulled me in as well. I absolutely love the art. I love the feel of green in here and how there's a bit of a time jump. And there's still like some comedy in it too, because this young kid with all this power, and if you're that young and you have power, you really are just a jerk. But he's a jerk with a heart of gold, because like I said, when he first showed him, he was trying to save these kids who were being bullied, and instead of running, the guy decided to beat the other guy up while Godzilla's right there. Right. It just has a nice feel to it, and it's something different that I don't normally read, and that's why I went in to go and read it. And I just had a great time. Like I said, yes, this is Kaiju Kai-Sei, like I say, Kai-Sei Era. Hope I'm pronouncing it right. And there are 2 other comics along with it as well. Like as far as like series, one called, I think, Dead Zone or Danger Zone.
Okay.
And there's I can't remember what the other one is called as well. But this is, I got this on a Global Comics.
Okay.
By the way, you're welcome again, Global Comics. I see that you have another ad campaign based on something I said. Congratulations. Just hire me. Jesus Christ, what the hell? Yeah, so this was a great fun. A lot of like I said, I think there's maybe like there's 5 or 6 issues of this. I absolutely loved it. And I just, it was fun. It was something different. It was just fun, and I love that feeling. So that was cool. So yeah, check this one out. And like I said, the other two comics, I want to say, actually, you know what? Let me look. I hit the wrong damn screen.
No, I got him right here. It is, he making a whole universe. Godzilla escaped the Dead Zone.
Yes. Yes.
And Starship Godzilla.
Yes.
Yes. This is too much. I can't. God.
This is not a dig against anyone. I was not expecting to read a Godzilla comic this year. I wasn't. And then I saw this and I was like, well, and for it to be a whole new era. So this is like a launching pad for people who may not be as familiar with everything that's going on, which I liked. Yeah. And then I saw it was the era. I was like, oh no. And then I saw there were only like 2 other series. I was like, okay, I can manage that. Probably not, but I'm going to try it because it was good. It was interesting and I liked it. And like I said, there's a robot that speaks. When I saw that, I was like, well, got me, sucker.
Yeah,
this
was amazing.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you very much, Mac. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I mean, to respond to that specifically, no, Mac, I know that they are specifically looking at all this IP as potential money. So if you, I will say this, if you have a love for any of the IP that Warner Brothers owns from that list of, get worried because they're about to milk, get worried, maybe get excited, but Yeah, like they only look at dollar signs when they see any of this stuff.
That's all they're going to care about. They don't care
Yeah,
about any of this. I'm looking at it from I want the comics obviously, but I'm thinking about it in a grand scope. I mean,
yeah,
because this show is about comics, we're speaking about it about comics. But we could talk about this in the grander scope, which is this is scary. This is horrific.
yeah.
First off, I don't think I'll ever be able. I probably won't ever make $80 million. I will not. I'm pretty sure of that. If I do, you will never see me again. I'll be honest with you. I mean, you will, Robert, but most people will never see me again. Never see me again. Yeah, I got real to go. I'm like, I'm done. First off, I don't think I'll ever be able to spend $86 million. I don't think in the life I've had, I don't think I've ever been able to spend $86 million so far. So the fact that someone had this much money and then somebody else was like, you know what? I got more. I got $100-something million.
Right.
Suck to you. And to have that much power is scary. And it's going to throw everything else into disarray as far as entertainment, licenses, but also fees for streaming services. What's that going to do? Where's that going to go? What's that going to do to things that are already out? What's that going to do to projects that are being in development now? Yeah. And they're trying to figure out, what's going to happen, what's going on. So we're talking about the comics because, yes, we are comic book lovers and because it is part of the culture. But we can talk about the much deeper aspect of it as well. We're trying to keep it as surface as possible because this is a rabbit hole you can go down and you will never freaking come out unless you have $2.5 billion to pay for this. And again, anyone who says Snyderverse, please go to bed. It's done. Stop. Go to bed. Take a nap.
It was just like
magnesia.
They got excited.
They did. Every post, oh my God, and it's always like, oh my God, yeah, this site says there's going to be this and that, and it's something like and the site is called like DC in your bathroom, some wild whacked out name that doesn't even make any sense. Like, you're not reputable. What? Not that we're reputable. I am not a journalist. I am an online personality. I am a geek culture reviewer, analyst. I am an enthusiast. That is why I am not a journalist at all, but I believe in having integrity. Yes, humor, obviously. But you know what? Milestone is in there. We got this.
Well, I mean, and viable sources. I mean, that was one of the reasons I cited Comics Beat and Forbes.
Yes.
Forbes is on its own thing, but like when I read the reporting on that about the comic books, I was like, look at that as a source. The other thing though about the Snyderverse that gets me is that Snyder's movies, I don't care how you feel about the Snyderverse, and I enjoy the Rebel Moon movies for being goofy fun, but those lost money for Netflix. So I don't think that they are about to continue to throw money at him to do like, hey, you want to do your Justice League? Like, no, that's not happening. So it's just like sometimes you want people to look at the stuff realistically. And honestly, the Snyderverse died with that black and white version. And I enjoyed the Snyder movies, but I at least know that they're not going to give him billions and millions of dollars to continue to do more stuff. Like, I think we need to look at these, like, we're 40-year-old, we're 40. It's like we're in the 40s and 50s. To the Snyder fans, look at this stuff as adults. They're not, and realistically, they're not going to continue to give him money for something that's going to possibly fail.
Yeah. I mean, you can be positive and say, oh, I would like for them to do that. Okay, that's cool, what have you. But the reality is, it's not going to happen. And Snyder's not like, well, I'm going to wait for my phone now. He's not sitting there waiting for his phone like old rotary phone too. Like, he's not sitting there waiting for his phone to ring like that. Hello? I thought you'd never ask. On my way.
I mean, he might still have a deal with Netflix, but I if the Rebel Moon movies had done well, maybe, but that's not happening.
I had an idea earlier when I was reading a comic. I was like, this is who they should have put in charge of. Like, they should have had him do Wildstorm stuff. Make it straight 80s like schlock.
Actually would have been good. Yeah. So
somebody's gonna steal this idea. You're welcome again. Why don't you guys just hire me and pay me? Seriously, it'd be way much easier. So I'll stop talking crap about you. That would have been cool. He could have done that because his slow motion, all that would have been great for that. Him doing like him over like that's dark, gritty type of thing. That would have been great for him. The fact that they haven't done anything with Wildstorm and they have that IP there, as far as I know, because I want to say the comics are under DC because they recently used like Wildcats but they haven't brought back anything like, Wetworks, Team 7, Stormwatch. Those are properties that would be incredible.
Mm-hmm.
But what have you? I mean, well, the Authority
animated.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, with DC knows animation, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to top that Wildcats animated series from Saturday mornings. I'm just saying. Anyway, folks, which I recently watched on Tubi, and I do have the box set. I mean, it wasn't really a box set. It's like 12 episodes, but to me, it's a box set. So shut up. Anyway, folks, that's been our show. Look, there's a lot going on. There's not just surface stuff. There's a lot going on in there, but there's always something going on in geek culture. Whether it's comics or whether it's animated stuff, what have you. Tell us what you're looking at, what you dig, and drop us a comment, drop us a DM. Let us know, okay? So I will see you Friday. Pre-recorded episode. Spoiler alerts. Pre-recorded episode Friday. Myself doing the Hungry Bleak show. Get cozy. It's me talking about comics that I'm just comfort reads. I wanted to have a chill episode. That's it. We'll be back Monday, myself and Jabba, talking more about anime and gaming news. Next Wednesday, back talking to you more about comics. And then we're going to have our end of the year wrap-up show for TBA News, where we were talking about our favorite stuff of 2025. There's a lot of, it was a big year for movies, animation, comic. There's a lot going on. Wrestling, might bring up some wrestling stuff too, folks. So yeah, please. We will see you then. Have a very good day, evening, whatever time it is that you're listening or watching to this. And we'll see you next time. All right. Peace. And as always, I am Antonio Pomares, hungriest man in the room. Take that however you like.
And I am Robert Jeffrey, writer extraordinaire.
There you go. And as always, F Trump, them Epstein files. Woo. Page Turner. Wild.
Take that. Sorry.
Y'all some wild, nasty folks up in there. Woo, the White House stink right now.